Good morning, and welcome to your favorite Friday morning podcast, Conversations with Buddy, brought to you by The Rec, way more than a bowling alley. Now, I say that every week, and I do mean that. It's we do mentoring. We just have lots of different groups that come through each week. Come on down, bring your work group, bring your church group, bring your family, your friends, and you'll have a great time. We do these podcasts every week so we can challenge you, inspire you, encourage you. And so if you've heard a great podcast that you'd love to just talk about, we love your feedback. We want to improve the show. We want to grow the show. So your comments are welcome, please. But today we're going to talk about a guy named Dean Craig, and I'm really excited. And welcome, Dean.
Thanks, buddies. I'm excited to be here. Super excited.
So you and I have known each other, what, a year or?
Yeah, I've known of you longer than I've known you.
Okay. I don't know if that's good or bad, man.
It's good, man. It's good.
Okay. Now, Jeff Morgan was the guy that actually introduced us. Is that where it all began?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I've known Jeff for 25 years or so, close to.
Yeah.
And he mentioned you, I can't tell you how many times. And I thought, finally got, who's this Buddy Puckett guy? I got to know him. Next thing you know, we had coffee.
That's right. Where did we have coffee? Like at Isaac's?
Yeah, I think it was Isaac's.
That's right. I do remember.
Yeah.
It was probably even less than a year ago. Who knows?
I think, right around a year-ish.
Okay.
Thereabouts.
Well, cool. Then now here, everybody knows Dean Craig, so that's kind of funny. Yeah, I mean.
That's such an ironic thing because I feel like I am this little teeny tiny pebble. And yet I hear that a lot.
When you're around a community, you've been around the community for, you said, well, you've known Jeff for 20-some years.
Yeah.
People get to know you.
True.
So
yeah,
we're going to get to know you even better.
Awesome.
So here we go. Well, let me make an introduction to you real quick, and we'll dive in deep. All right. So here's what you say, because I always make our clients or our guests, not clients, but guests, share about themselves so I can really just honor them. You say, I have very little formal education, having dropped out of high school when I was 17, a 17-year-old father. My dad taught me to take responsibility for my actions. Great dad, by the way.
Oh,
dads need to hold their kids accountable.
Yeah. The lessons my dad taught me, I'm still learning from them.
Man, is your dad still alive?
No, he passed, 12 years ago, 14 years ago.
Okay. You say, I've worked most of my life beginning when I was in sixth grade. During the school year, I worked at the Monitor store for $2 an hour. Yeah. Lovely. A bottle of cider and hostess fruit
soda.
pie. Oh, gotcha. A bottle of soda and a hostess fruit pie.
Yep.
Yummy. Got it. So your parents had an apple orchard, 43 red delicious apples, and since I was the oldest and Dad was gone all week driving truck, the orchard became mostly my responsibility. Once I was old enough, that meant 12.
Yep.
Okay. So you were the oldest of how many?
3.
Okay. When I wasn't working in the orchard, which was most of the summer, I worked on farms in the area around Monitor and Mount Angel. Where's Monitor at exactly?
Monitor is about, 4 or 5 miles north and a little bit east of Mount Angel.
Okay. I don't go out there much.
It's just a wide spot in the road.
Yeah. there it is. Okay. Yeah. What I'm most proud of, though, are my children. I have 5 adult kids, ages 42, 39, 36, 32, and 32. Are those twins?
They are.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And you have 2 stepchildren, 33 and 30. So you guys are all pretty close?
Yeah, very close.
Isn't that cool?
It's amazingly awesome.
Then there are 10 grandchildren, ages 2 to nearly 12.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of my kids, I can talk for hours about them. And we might. For work, I've done quite a variety of things. Here's a list. A cook at Kentucky Fried Chicken, a baker at Cookie Baron, full service island attendant and tire dude at Webb and Anderson Goodyear and Arco Station, several positions at 2 different sawmills. So you're really a blue collar guy.
Yeah. Well, my dad was a career truck driver, and that was my model.
Okay. Forklift driver and trainer, custom home framer. That's hard work.
Yeah.
Assistant cost accountant. So you had some education there. You said you...
Self-taught.
Operations manager, manufacturing. Staffing services, regional manager. Operations manager, directional drilling. Construction estimator, underground work. and business services director, workforce development, and that's where
I currently work. Yeah.
Okay. You've done everything. Is there anything you haven't done?
I've never been a doctor except on TV.
Okay. All righty. Well, Dave, let's dive in real quick. And, okay, so you currently live out in the big city of Scotts Mills.
Yeah, I actually live in Clackamas County. So if you go through Scotts Mills, cross the little bridge, you're in another county.
Okay.
I live up that road a little ways.
And you've lived out there for
23 years, 24 years.
Same house, new house?
Yeah, same house.
No kidding.
My first wife and I bought it with the intention of tearing down. It's an older manufactured home.
Yeah.
We were going to tear it down and build a house. So I still have the plans, the blueprints. But, the economy shifted.
Yep.
And we pulled the plug on it. And a few years later, she passed away. And that just changed my whole mindset about the place.
So your first wife passed away?
Yeah, 2014.
2014. That's only 10 years ago.
Yeah, this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that hit you?
All the time.
What month did she pass away?
December, the day before her 49th birthday.
What was the cause?
Well, after we found out, the initial cause was just organ failure. What caused that?
Yeah.
Right. So a combination of things that went on for over 20 years that we didn't know about. A previous surgery that I don't want to say was botched, but wasn't complete. Allowed poisons to continually back up into her body that nobody really knew about. You couple that with probably not the healthiest lifestyle of eating habits, a little too much alcohol, not enough exercise, and your body just says, I'm done. I've had enough. And that's the case with her.
It's tough. How do you reconcile the loss of your love of your life?
It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I'm still not over it completely. Sorry. It's tough. I mean, we met on the school bus. We were together for 36 years.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What grade were you in when you met her?
I was a sophomore. Was I sophomore or was I junior? I think I was a junior. Year and a half later, we had a child.
Yeah.
And I left school. She attempted to stay, but back then the approach was a little different. She wasn't allowed to. So she had to go to a special school for young moms.
Okay.
Finished her high school. I went to work.
Yeah.
And it's been a journey of work ever since.
What a blessing, though.
Absolutely. I can't count my blessings. They're so immense. There's so many.
Yeah. Let's come back to this. I want to dive deeper into you guys obviously got married. We're married for a long time, but let's back up a little bit because I think there's a story that you shared with me about your dad. I think it's really special. So back us up. Where were you born? And then migrate down to Oregon.
Sure. I was born in Oregon. I was born in Portland.
Okay, born in Portland.
My toes are webbed, man.
Welcome, yeah.
Yeah, I was born. I lived only outside of Oregon for about a 4-month stint. When my wife and I first got married, we moved to Oklahoma in the early 80s. So if you were around Oregon in the early 80s, you might remember the recession that we had.
A little bit.
It was brutal. And I couldn't find work, especially as a young high school dropout, right? I mean, who's going to hire me? I couldn't find work for anything. So I worked for the farm, so I could do that, but that wasn't year-round. Her parents moved to Oklahoma and found work. So we piled into my 1972 Cutlass. And if this thing was loaded, we had the old U-Haul car top carrier on top and stuff sticking out of it. We were going to Oklahoma and we looked like we belonged there.
That's funny.
So we got there in 3 days and had an interesting time there. The people were fantastic. But I'm an Oregonian.
Yeah.
It didn't rain there.
Yeah.
When it did, there were tornadoes associated with it, and I didn't like that very much. So we came home a short while later and never left again.
Got it. Talk to me about the, growing up on, doing blue collar work with your dad on the orchard.
Yeah.
Because I know you had lots of jobs, but I think the orchard are the lessons that Dad taught you.
So many. I mean, I remember, there were some things that I wasn't allowed to do because I wasn't old enough, like spray, right? But everything else Dad taught me to do. And some of the biggest lessons were, and if I may, on my own podcast, I talk about this quite a bit.
Yeah.
Polishing apples.
Pause real quick. What's the name of your podcast?
All in a day's work.
All in a day's work.
Yeah.
Okay.
All in a day's
People
work.
need to tune into that one. Okay.
Thank you.
Continue.
Polishing apples became school, honestly, for me with my dad, because he was a truck driver and he would, drive truck all day. I would pick the apples and put them into boxes. Well, when he came home, he and I'm the oldest, so we would sit out in the garage on these overturned buckets, polishing apples to get ready to take them to market the next day. And this was, late in the fall. It's October.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the one particular lesson that I've shared on my own podcast but it's for me, so powerful. We're polishing apples and we're sitting across from each other on buckets, and we've got a bunch of boxes on one side that are full of unpolished apples that I picked, and the finished box on the other side. So you grab an apple, you use a terry cloth towel, you polish it. Probably too much detail, but I'm not doing it as good as my dad thinks we ought to, right? So I'm going along, and he's taken mine out and continuing to polish them after I've already polished them. So we get all done. I start polishing better because he teaches me. The next day, we take them into Mount Angel to a couple stores, and we did one in Woodburn and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, first one we went to, he goes, take 2 boxes in. He takes them in. He goes, go find Henry. He'll have a check for us. Okay, cool. It's a little tiny store, not much bigger than this room, right? So I go find Henry. Sure enough, he had a check for us. Dad's got the apples all displayed. And this is the old days where every store had a meat counter and vegetable counter and everything, right? Even the little mom and pop stores. It was great. So we get done, and he goes, you want an apple? No thanks, Dad. I don't want an apple. He goes, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Well, if you did want an apple, what apple would you have? I don't know, probably one of these. And there were like 4 different rows of apples. And I can't tell you all of them. I know that 2 of them for sure were Red Delicious, which is what we grew. I said, probably these. He goes, why? I said, well, because they look the best. He goes, exactly. And he just walks away. I'm like, wait, Dad, what are you getting at? He goes, those are our apples, son. They look better because we put more effort into them, and it shows. And we sell out every week. Well, those apples have been there for 3 weeks now. Wow. Mind-blowing to me, right? Huge. So
that's a good lesson your dad taught you.
Yeah.
That, because as a kid, you don't realize the importance of simply shining up the apple. Like, it looks good enough. It's, it's always
right.
good enough.
What is good enough?
What is good enough? And your dad, he knew the difference.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Totally worked.
Now, how old are you, Dean?
I'm 60.
60.
Yeah.
You learned that lesson at what age?
14.
Think about this. You're still talking about the lesson.
Oh, huge.
I think that's the coolest thing ever. The lesson that your dad taught you at age 14 that you'll never forget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, so many other lessons. Like, as a 14-year-old kid, when you're in a tractor that will pop a wheelie, what do? You pop a wheelie.
Of course you do.
Right? But when your dad explains to you, with a little bit of an exaggerated voice, why you don't do that, and explains the cost. By the way, I got paid part of the profits from the orchard.
Yeah.
When he taught me that everything I made was going to go into repairing that tractor.
Oh.
Whoa.
Come on.
Yeah.
That changes things, man.
Big change in my whole approach to equipment.
Best lesson ever.
Absolutely. I didn't pop wheelies anymore.
That is really, well, it leads back to your accounting. You self-taught accounting.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the first lessons, like, knowing your income and your expenses and the net return and
right.
ROI and just all the stuff that goes into accounting.
Huge.
That's funny. Those are great lessons.
Very good lessons.
How long were your mom and dad married for?
Gosh, I don't even know. It's funny. On the way here, I was listening to one of your conversations with Jeff Morgan.
Yeah.
Right. And him reflecting on how long his parents, and I was thinking, I don't know how long my parents were married. They got married in 1962. Dad passed away in 2000, I guess it was 2008. So a long time.
We're going to do some quick math here.
Good. I'm not that guy.
Well, so 46 years, but they were still married, though. That's the point.
Yeah, the entire time.
My mom and dad were married 49 and a half years. Same story. My mom died same year your wife died, so 2014. But we celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary 6 months before she passed.
Oh.
So I've told the story a few times. sorry for retelling stories, but it's important.
It is important.
So
and good stories
I
are
love
worth repeating.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, this is good. So you grew up on the orchard doing that.
Yeah.
So during high school, so take me through high school. Did you do sports? What did that look like?
I played football.
Football player.
Yeah. In fact, so up until the summer between 5th and 6th grade, I lived in Lake Oswego.
Okay.
And I started playing football there in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
Had a great time. I loved playing football, and I was really good at it. I was a little guy, though. I'm still not very tall. I'm just bigger around than I used to be.
I know that.
So when I got into high school, I wanted to play tackle football again because in Monitor, we only had flag football.
Okay.
It was a small rural K through 8 school.
Yeah.
So I got the chance to play football, and I excelled at it. I was really, really good. And I don't say that just because I think I was, but I was told that. And when I was 21 years old, I happened to be in a place where I ran across one of my former coaches and teacher. And after some liquid encouragement, we went to the high school, and we went down to his office. He pulled out a file, the letter from Arizona State University asking for my stats, along with some other players.
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
You didn't know about it?
I dropped out.
Oh, that's right. You dropped out.
Yeah. So I never got to see the letter. It came after I dropped out.
Did that hurt? Did that sting?
Oh, that was a burn.
But also it was like, okay, I'll take what it is and
Right. It's fuel.
it's fuel.
Yeah. I turned it into fuel. Not consciously.
Yeah.
It's just, I was able to use that to motivate me to be good at other things.
Just real quick though, did you stopping high school, even though you did at the time you felt like the right thing to do, and probably was.
Yeah.
Did it help you though to move as you move forward in life? Like, you know what? When I start something, I no longer quit. Did that change the way you do things?
Yeah, that's really an interesting question. I utilized that experience to help me raise my kids. My kids, especially my older two, I was a kid raising a kid, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew some things. And one of the things I knew was that quitting is never good without a super, super good reason. Well, in my case, I viewed having a son that I had to pay the hospital bill for as a good reason. And I'll be honest with you, buddy, my grades were horrible. I hated high school.
Yeah.
I hated school.
Yeah.
I did not learn from sitting in a class listening to somebody tell me what I need to know. I learned by doing things.
Yeah.
Right? Get out there and I have a real frustration with our education system having not changed in 125 years.
It's not designed to help us to.
It's not.
I think doing. You can tell me 100 times, but until I go do it,
I'm not going to get it. Yep, I'm with you 100%. And my two youngest boys are teachers. So, as is my daughter-in-law.
That's funny. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I get to
tread lightly on that one.
Well, we have some good conversations, and the thing of it is, I love conversation.
Yeah,
I don't like fighting.
right.
I'm not gonna. If you start getting cranky,
Yeah.
I'm done. But I'll talk with you all day long. We don't have to agree.
Right.
In fact, I actually prefer it if we don't, because I'm going to learn then.
Yep.
Another perspective, at least.
Totally.
So I don't remember where I was, but school wasn't for me. So I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I taught my son, that's what it was. He took a paper out in Silverton. I don't remember what grade. And he hated it. I wanted to quit. And I said, you cannot quit. You have to at least see it through this season. And you have to help find your replacement. And he did. And it was probably one of the better lessons, I think, watching him grow, that he ever had to do. And I've done that with really everything with my kids. And now my kids are doing it with their kids.
Yeah.
I love that.
You passed down a legacy of not quitting. We had the same rule too with our kids is, hey, first of all, you're going to do sports and music. My wife wanted music. I wanted sports. And as they got older, it's like, what if I want to do sports? Here's the deal. You're going to do something. It's going to be work.
Yep.
So I think those lessons, and if you do start something, you got to finish the season. You don't get to quit. Quitting's not the option.
Right.
So that's a great lesson.
Learned that from my dad.
Okay. Son, polish those apples, man.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, take me. So through high school, you met this girl.
Yeah. They're on the school bus.
You met her on the school bus.
I did, literally. I must have been a sophomore because I wasn't driving. I don't remember. Anyway, I remember there's this redheaded girl, and she doesn't know me, so I'm going to talk to her.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, totally.
And there's no liquid courage here.
No, no,
you're in the school bus.
So we started talking, and literally for the next 36 years, we were never apart.
Okay, she gets pregnant. When do you guys decide to get married?
We got married in 1982 when our son was 8 months old.
Okay. So
we had to go to Reno because she wasn't old enough to get married in Oregon.
Got it.
Yeah.
So she would have been a year younger?
Yeah, 2 years, almost 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Really?
know. Yeah.
So she would have been 16.
She was 15 when he was born.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and 16 when we got married.
Happens, right?
Well, yeah.
It's true.
It is true. It's humans are humans. And at wherever we are in the stage of life, we're going to do what we're compelled to do for whatever reason.
That's right.
Learning from those actions, taking responsibility for those actions and learning from them, for me, is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. Well, now you're looking, how many years now? 40, because it's your son, right?
Yeah, he's 42.
40 or 42.
Yeah.
It's been 42 years. So, and you're a proud dad.
Very. My kids are awesome.
Yeah. What a cool thing. Okay, so you guys went to Reno, get married. Mm-hmm. What does life look like from there? Did you move? You moved back to?
We moved back to Silverton area for a little while. Rented a couple places. I worked at the Cookie Baron, which was that you see them in convenience stores. Great big cookies the size of your head. That's where we made them.
Okay.
And it was right in downtown Mount Angel. We had an apartment across the street and upstairs above can't remember what store it was below.
Yeah.
It was great. Our first place.
Life is good.
Oh man.
It's pretty funny when you first get married. You have nothing. You can't rub two pennies together,
right?
And life is good.
It's awesome.
And then life gets more complicated as you make more money and life goes down. And
yeah. My dad taught me something also about money years and years ago. Not very long beyond that stage. If you can't manage a little bit of money, you will never manage a lot.
That's right.
And my wife took that to heart and really managed our money really, really well. We survived relatively comfortably on a baker's salary.
It's pretty cool.
Right?
That is really cool.
Really cool.
Because you guys got married right at the tail end of the recession.
Yeah.
Because I think it's 79 to 81, 82.
Yeah.
Painful times, but...
It was rough. It was rough. We moved to Oklahoma. We got there on Sunday, and I started work on Monday in the oil fields.
Really?
Yeah. No, it's Tuesday. I'm sorry, Tuesday. I got the job on Monday, started work on Tuesday. Hardest thing I've ever done in my life, working in the oil fields. Oh, man.
What's that like?
It's brutal. You are a dump truck, because you run a wheelbarrow, over 2 by 12 planks, elevated all day long. They're wet. Zigging and zagging, and you're fighting this thing. And at that pace, I weighed 118 pounds.
Wow.
Soaking wet, right? So
you're about 120 today?
Yeah, roughly. Thanks, buddy.
I know. Me too.
Yeah. But that work was rewarding and hard and frustrating because in the oil fields, when they give you a certain amount of money and time, if you don't hit oil, you're just done. You just go home.
Okay.
I worked for 11 days.
And you're done?
And we're done. We didn't hit oil.
Okay.
That job was finished. Oh, wait a minute. No, I still want to come to work.
And you guys were in Oklahoma for how long?
Only 4 months.
Literally 4 months and back.
Yeah.
You go, this is not for me.
Yeah. Well, I met a guy in the oil fields, and he and a partner had a auto detailing shop. And he goes, come to work for me. I like the way you work. I'll teach you how to detail.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Let's walk through the journey of having kids and lessons you learn, and we're going to take us all the way to where we are today. At some point in time, you got remarried.
Yeah, just 8 years ago.
Okay.
So,
what was the journey of raising kids? Because you guys lived in Scotts Mills.
We lived in Silverton, Scotts Mills area. Yeah,
Yep.
The kids. All my kids went through Silverton school districts.
Okay, yeah.
All the way through high school.
Yeah.
My youngest son is a high school teacher in Silverton.
No way.
Yeah, and was the head football coach when they won the most recent championship.
No kidding.
Yeah, that was his dream, was to both of them, the twins, was to go to college, come back, coach football, and do well.
Both of them want to be coaches.
They did want to be. The other twin, when their mom passed away, he continued in school and then went and taught in Nepal for a couple of years. Yeah.
No kidding.
And I think that he and I have talked about it quite a bit, and he just needed to be his own person for a while. And I think that was really, really good for him.
Yeah.
And to go, he taught an American school in Nepal, and there he was health and PE teacher. So they would travel to Vietnam to compete in sporting events.
Yeah.
And all by air. They'd fly everywhere. It was just a crazy, crazy thing. But he made some lifelong friends during that 2 years.
So being a twin, are they super close?
Oh, yeah.
I know that's hard for twins to go different directions. It seems. I don't know.
It was brutal. It was brutal. On Josh, who stayed here, Jake went to Nepal. It was hard. I don't know how hard it was on Jake because I didn't see him on a daily basis, right? But I saw Josh all the time. In fact, he lived with me for a while.
It's probably harder for Josh than Jake. Jake was just into a new environment and focused on that. Josh still here, and your family's left behind in a way.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was much harder on Josh. And Jake's back now. He just got married last summer.
Nice.
And they're incredibly close.
And how old are they?
They are 32.
Okay. So 42 to 32, that's your range of your kids.
Yeah.
How cool.
I know, right? It's just awesome. And they're all, I'm proud to say that they all are contributing adults.
Yeah.
Right? They all make their own way. They don't need me for anything except an occasional advice.
I bet you taught them a little bit just based on your dad.
I hope so. I mean, I don't know, but I hope so. Watching them, I think so.
Yeah.
But
well, as we raise kids, I think sometimes parents can overdo or not have their kids do the work. Like I grew up blue collar too. It wasn't an option. You want to eat? You go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Period. Any questions? No questions.
Right.
I say two things that my parents did for me. They loved me and they taught me how to work.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably more, but
I'm sure
those are the two lessons I would literally take away all day.
Me too.
They love me and they taught me to work.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Very, very familiar. And my dad had an approach to being a truck driver, which many people don't think of as a profession.
Yeah.
He made it a profession. Yeah. I mean, he didn't wear a ball cap. His hair was always combed. His nails were always clean. He wore slacks and floor-shine shoes and a button-down shirt to drive truck.
I think that's cool.
I do too, because that was his profession. And he taught me that anything can be a profession. It's all in how you approach it.
I think that's a fantastic lesson.
Me too.
Because it's easy to throw on the baseball cap and dress down. And I know COVID in our professions, we couldn't meet with people for a couple of years. So pretty soon I used to wear, slacks and a dress shirt and period. Yeah. It's just what we did.
Right.
Heck, we might go to work in our shorts and baseball cap now. Full confession.
I'm with you.
But I think we've lost a little bit of what your dad had.
I dress to my audience. Who am I seeing that day?
Okay.
If I'm working on if I'm going to a factory floor, and that business owner is going to be there in jeans and boots, that's what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I want to relate to them.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
But I love that your dad was committed to his work, his profession.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. So fast forward, your wife passed away in 2014. Devastating. Mm-hmm. Then you get remarried. Mm-hmm. You've been remarried for 8 years?
Yeah.
So it's just a couple years later that you met a lady and got married.
Yeah.
Did you know that would happen? Were you?
No, I didn't.
Did
I
it catch you by surprise?
Kind of crawled in a bottle for about 6 or 8 months. And my kids said, Dad, you can't do this to us. Please don't do this.
That's not fair.
Right. Oh, totally fair. I just didn't see what I was doing. I was in my own space.
Yeah.
Not having the wisdom to see that I was affecting others in such a profound way. So they said, you need to go see people. Don't just sit here and drink whiskey all day.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea.
Bad idea.
And I was doing just that.
Yeah.
So I went to a buddy's party. He was having a downsizing party, selling off some stuff and raising some funds and giving a bunch of money away. So I went there and I met a gal who I'd known professionally for a long time, for a decade. And she heard what had happened. We talked that evening. She'd heard what had happened. And she goes, are you ready to start going out? I said, I don't know. Maybe. She goes, well, let's find out. So she shows up at my office a few days later and set a date, and we went on our first date.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The rest is history.
Right? It really is.
What's your wife's name?
Jody.
Jody.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys got married right within 2 years.
Yeah. In fact, Jeff was my best man.
Okay, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, how'd you and Jeff meet? What was the story there?
We met when I started at Personnel Source, which was a staffing agency that I ran here in town for 15 years. I didn't know anything about how do you go meet people, right? Other than just go meet people. So the previous manager had been a member of several of the leads groups, and I started going to one of the leads groups. Morgan was there, and we met there, and we were friendly, not friends, and then it just grew. We keep running across each other, and it just grew. And
Isn't that funny?
It's so funny, right? Relationships are such an interesting, diverse, and crucial part of our lives that I don't think speaking for myself, I don't pay enough attention to the relationships in my life like I want to.
Okay.
Because I get busy and I forget, and I'm a jerk that way.
Dean, don't be a jerk. All right, so let's throw in some accountability there, because I agree that we all, hey, I'm busy. Mm-hmm. In fact, my dad will text me, or he'll text me. I'm like, hey, I always try to pick up the phone and call him.
Yeah.
He goes, son, I know you're busy. I'm like, I'm not that busy. I'm never that busy, ever. And so how do we intentionally, from this day forward, make relationships what they should be? What's that look like for you?
Well, yeah, and I'm still working on it, but I have been working on it very intentionally, and I think that that's the key word. It has to be intentional. You can't just hope it's going to happen, right? So you may see or hear that a friend or a buddy is challenged. Go pick up the phone. Go have a cup of coffee, right? Jeff and I get together. We typically will go to the yard once a month. Yeah. Right, sometimes sooner if we can.
He talks about it all the time, by the way.
Does he?
Oh, yeah. He loves that time. He loves that time.
I do, too. I think it's really important. Conversation is just such a great way to get to know people, right? And it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be anything, about anything. Just don't fight about it. That's the key.
The thing I think I've learned about conversation as I get older, because I always wanted to show up and be the guy and coach the guy and correct the guy, and realize I'm that guy. I need to show up and actually be taught.
Me too.
And I think sometimes showing up and just walking alongside somebody and just being available.
100%.
Sometimes with words, sometimes without words. Mm-hmm. And just being there means more than anything than the coming with the special agenda that you know all things. And so I think for me, God's still working on me to humble me and realize I don't know jack.
Yeah, I don't either.
I just show up and, hey, what's Dean got to tell me?
But what's interesting, I think that I 100% agree with you. We also don't know how others perceive us always. So I had I'll say friend. I don't know him super well. On Facebook the other day, announced that he is battling liver cancer.
Wow.
And it's pretty brutal. Liver cancer is not one
can't mess with that one.
It's a bad one. I don't know him super well, but we have some mutual friends that I do know well. So I just reached out to him and said, dude, if you need something, seriously, and I sincerely mean this, if you need something, let me know. He won't, because that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
But if he does, I promise you that I will answer the call, regardless of what it is.
I believe that. I love your intentionality. I can tell you mean what you say.
100%.
Yeah. I think oftentimes though, hey, let's get together, and we don't really mean what we say, but like you, when here's the thing that I do, I didn't always do it, but practicing being more intentional is, hey, if I have a thought of somebody, it can be anybody.
Right.
Either A, call them, B, pray for them.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But I like your reaching out. You actually took the effort to reach out. Whether he does or does not respond, that's not your problem.
It's not. But I just want him to know that if he needs something, I'm here for him. If I can, I don't know what it might be.
I'm going to do that more too, Dean. So thanks for the encouragement on that.
Sure, absolutely.
It's easy not to, but man.
It's so funny. I was having a conversation recently and with another guy, and he said, well, how do you build relationships? And I thought about that, and I don't know I don't know if there's a scientific answer or an accepted answer, but my answer is you just go through life looking for opportunities to be helpful. And if I can be helpful, that's going to give me an opportunity to talk with somebody. Maybe we're going to become friends.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going to develop a relationship. Maybe we're not.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact, if my opportunity to be helpful, if I don't take advantage of it, I'm never going to meet that person. I'm never going to have another opportunity to maybe start a relationship with that person.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it.
Relationships are important, aren't they? I can
Crucial.
tell that you think they're, and as we get older, they're probably more meaningful as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Time is ticking.
One of the things I remember my dad saying as he was aging is the only part about aging that really stinks is your friends leaving.
Yeah.
And that was hard for him, for my dad.
I was just going to share with you real quick. So I have a client, he's 81, which is my dad's age. And him and his wife have been married for 60 years.
Wow.
And my favorite question is like, all right, what's the secret to 60 years?
Yeah.
And so I just talked to him this morning. He gave me permission to, I'm not going to use his name, but just there are 3 C's. And number 1 is it's communication.
Yep.
And secondly, it's compromise.
Yes.
And the third is common interest.
Oh, I love that.
But then this morning, he added one more section he called the lubricants of life, what make it all work. He goes, buddy, it's number 1, you got to have a sense of humor.
Yes.
Number 2, the appreciation of music because he likes music.
Yeah.
I agree. And then the third thing, it can end all, or it can all end so suddenly. Meaning, whatever happened yesterday, forget about it tomorrow. What matters is right now, right here.
Absolutely.
So, just wanted to share that. I told him I would. I think I love that.
I do too.
I love the advice, and
that's fantastic. You know, when Jody and I got married, I didn't have a lot to offer. I had spent all of my retirement and everything trying to keep my first wife alive.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot financially to offer. So I promised her 2 things. I would always give her adventure and laughter.
Love that.
The only things I can offer.
Yeah.
And adventure means a lot of different things. Right?
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah. Let's go see where this road goes.
Right.
And laughter. And we laugh every day. And I agree with you. It's one of the most important things.
Yeah. This guy, he's always cracking jokes. It's just funny that, because we can get pretty cynical as we get older. And set in our ways. And, not this guy.
Love it.
He's funny.
I love it.
Okay. So let's talk about, what you do for work. We're going to talk about your podcast. What motivates Dean? What gets you out of bed every day? What drives you? That's what's really important to. I'm here to learn, by the way.
Well, I don't know if I have anything to teach.
No, you have perspective. See, I've got blind spots. We all do.
Oh, we all do.
And I can see this way, and you can see that way, and I like to hear your perspective. So, give me some. Why'd you start a podcast? I know you work with Jeff on a couple different things.
Yeah.
You are busy doing different things.
Well, yeah. I mean, so when I'm going to back up just a little bit to get to where we are.
Yeah.
When I took over the staffing agency in, when was that? Gosh, right after September 11th, October 1st.
No kidding.
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah. What happened? Nothing. Nothing was happening.
Everything shut down. Okay.
And I left a pretty lucrative position as an operations manager for a manufacturing company to take that position.
Yeah.
And I wondered what I had done. Well, I learned very quickly that relationships are important, communication is important. And if you do these things, if you communicate well and you help develop relationships with people, business will take care of itself.
Yeah.
And he was right. My boss who told me this. And so throughout the years, that's how I emphasized, and we grew the business well, and we did very well. And I always was engaged with the workforce for obvious reasons, right? Well, after my wife passed away, my fire for that business kind of lost, because she was my backbone, right? She was my support. So when I got home, she was who I'd bounce everything off of, and her common sense way would help me know if I was on the right track or not. So
love it,
right? It was great. I just lost my fire. So a couple of years later, I left there. My son needed some help. I went to work with him. And I got a blind text that said, check your blank email. I said, I don't know who this is. So I text back, who the blank is this? Turns out it was a friend. And he had sent the job description to the company that I have, the job I have now, in to my email that I never looked at. Right? I just didn't look at it very often.
Yeah.
Long and short of it is I looked at it, got the job, and then from being a board member to the organization that I am for 14 years, now I'm an employee of the organization. It took some shifts to where it was, and we have fantastic leadership now, and I'm super excited to see where this is all going. But one of the things that I wanted to do was I've always had this thing, and I got it from my dad. Mondays don't have to suck.
Amen.
Right?
I'm gonna jot that note down. Keep going.
They just don't have to suck. But our society tells us that they do for whatever reason. So I don't watch a lot of TV and I don't read the news because most of it's all garbage, in my opinion. But if you pay attention to it, everything that they talk about in every news article and every piece of propaganda out there is that Mondays suck and Fridays are great. Well, I think every day is great if you decide for it to be.
I decide.
Me too. So I set out to find people who love their jobs, and I talk with them on my podcast. That's it. I just talk with them about why they like their job. How'd they get there? There's so many jobs out there that people don't even know exist, right? Why not? Let's share them.
It's always amazing to me, like, I just can't find a job. I'm like, I could go out today and land 5 jobs. I'll land one.
Right.
Today.
Yeah. If you're not too proud to do some things.
I'll whatever.
Right. I'll wash dishes.
That might be the case is like, well, I don't want to do that and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to keep looking for this perfect job. No, I get that.
Mm-hmm. I see it a lot. I see it, sadly on these community social media pages. Yep. People always say, well, I can't find a job. I've applied at 50 places. We need to talk because it's likely you have a challenge that you're not either aware of or not willing to look past.
I was going to tell you just a quick story. This young guy, mid-30s, early 30s, having a hard time finding a job. And I get that because he had a specific job in mind. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, a month ago, I had on my mind or heart that I need to connect this guy with Jeff Morgan.
Oh.
And so I connected him with Jeff Morgan. I'm like, I don't know what it is. There's something here. Like, I wouldn't let it go.
Yeah.
And guess what?
He's the guy Jeff was telling me about.
Jeff hired him.
I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, back to you.
And I'll say loud and clear, that is the number one way jobs are gotten. Number one. They're gotten through networks. They're gotten through who do you know? Yeah. Not Indeed, not staffing agencies, not the employment department.
Yeah. And you would know this, right?
Absolutely.
You live the company.
Totally. I mean, that's just it. So I set out to create this podcast about jobs and about work and about the approach to work. And let's see if we can shift that for one person.
Come on, man.
Right? One person.
And how long you've been doing it for a couple of years?
About a year.
About a year.
Yeah.
How many episodes do you have out?
About a year's worth.
Is that once a week?
Count them.
Once a week, once a month?
Yes, every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. So you got roughly 52.
Yeah, probably. I had some repeats because I align them with the school year. Okay. I have this theory. I have nothing to back it up. That people listen to podcasts mostly in the fall, winter, early spring. In the summer,
they're gone.
Yeah. So I
would agree.
Recycle them in the summer while I gather more.
Yep. I like it. Okay. I'll have to hop on there. And I may have listened to one because I remember when we talked in the past, but I need to go back and check it out.
Yeah, so you know what to say when you're on it with me.
That's right. I'm ready. Kind of like you did this morning on your way here.
Yes, exactly.
Jeff's story. That's funny.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Right. So one of the things that I like to talk about, if I can take the liberty.
Man, it's wide open.
I love talking about my job.
Tell me.
My job, so it's really interesting, and here's something that just made me realize this not all that long ago, maybe a year or so ago. Somebody asked me what I wanted to be remembered by when I'm gone.
That's a great question.
Right? And I thought long and hard, and at first I thought, no, this is just cliche. But I really kept thinking about it and just came back to the same thing. I just want to be remembered as being helpful. That's really it. What does that mean? It depends, right? It might be a number of things. Helping somebody guide them through their job search. Maybe. I have friends that all the time come to me and say, yeah, I got to shift jobs. How do you think I should go about this? And I'll tell them what I think. Maybe that's helpful. Maybe it's not. I have other people like the gentleman that's got liver cancer, and I told him, I'll be happy to help you in any way I can. That's being helpful. So I just set out to decide that that's how I want to be remembered. And the best way I can do that is by listening to, and my role is business, right? I have business services. I listen to business, ask them what their challenges are, ask them questions that they've never had to answer before. Sometimes I don't get an answer because they don't know. They haven't thought about it. Well, you can't come up with an answer if you've never thought of something, right? So I give them some time. And sometimes they don't want to face what they recognize now is some of the challenges that they're having because they're internal, right? Look in the mirror. That's the number one problem most businesses have is the owner won't get out of their own way or upper management won't get out of their own way, and egos. Those are the biggest challenges I see on a regular basis. But I get the pleasure of working with businesses who are ready to make a shift and help guide them through some of these shifts. And it's phenomenal. I absolutely love it.
Do you have an example, like, you don't have to name the company, but give us an example, like what that looks like.
Sure. There's a local manufacturing company.
Okay.
Right at the beginning of the pandemic, I met with them. We met at a brewery in Staten and we chatted for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
And finally, the two gentlemen I was meeting with sat back and said, "What do you think?" And I'd taken notes the whole time.
Yeah.
and I said, "Are you really prepared to hear what I have to say?" "Yep." "Okay. The biggest problem I see with this organization is you two.
Oh.
You are in your own way. And it's not, I mean, it's just how it's always been. Right? It's a family business.
Yeah.
Right? Well, they did not take that well. And my delivery probably wasn't very good.
Okay.
To be honest. I should have tempered it better. But the great thing is I watched them. They're doing a lot of the things that they needed to do. We talked.
Yeah.
We continued the conversation.
Well, truth hurts, by the way.
It really
and we
hurts.
don't always take it real well until it has time to marinate.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're doing it. I don't need credit. I need to see them improve. That is my credit. And I'm seeing them improve, and I'm proud of them, and it's phenomenal.
And that's what your job is.
Yeah.
You're a business coach.
In a sense. But I don't usually typically do it on one-on-one basis unless somebody comes to me and says, "Can you help me?"
Okay.
Usually we do it in groups. In our organization, we're the Workforce Investment Board for Lynn, Marion, Polk, and Yamhill counties.
Yeah.
And to develop a workforce, you have to know what business needs, right? So we listen to different sectors of business. So healthcare is a sector, warehouse, distribution, transportation is a sector, construction is a sector, manufacturing is a sector, and we're looking at hospitality as an additional sector. Right. So we listen to people, professionals in those industries, in those business sectors, and say, "What do you see as your challenge?" This is multiple, right? Because there's more than one always.
Yeah.
Once we figure that out, then we can help develop programs or align with the right people to help at least lessen. I don't want to say eliminate because I think eliminate is too defined. But if we can lessen them, awesome. Let's do that. Let's figure that out. Maybe down the road we'll eliminate them. But for now, let's just try and lessen them.
Yeah.
It's a fun gig.
It's a great gig. I was on vacation recently with my wife, and I like podcasts, so I listen to a fair amount.
As do I.
There's a guy, Craig Groeschel. He's a pastor. Tim and I and Sven, we've been to his leadership trainings. He's interviewing a guy named Dr. Josh X. Both are Christian guys. I didn't know Josh was a Christian, but I loved learning the simplicity of helping people.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I can make it, you got to do this in like a Rubik's Cube, and no one's ever going to do it.
No.
A couple takeaways were this here from this podcast. Wow, I love to learn on vacation.
Yeah.
Because I can learn better.
Right.
I got no distractions.
Right.
This podcast was, Josh Ox was talking about as a little kid, he had ADHD, and teachers like, "You're never going to amount to anything.
Yeah.
You're never going to go anywhere." And so he believed it. But then later on in later years in school, one of his teachers says, "Hey, I see something in you. Let's work on this." And the takeaway was two things. Number one was, hopefully I can remember this, was always encourage first.
Yeah.
"Hey, Dean, you're amazing. You love people. You're out there working for people, and you want to help people."
Yeah.
That's awesome. Keep doing that. Secondly, let me challenge you. You said you want to really be more proactive about being intentional, about reaching out. Why don't you and I talk about that and figure out a game plan? What does that look like?
Yeah.
2 things. I added a third thing because you can challenge somebody with no plan.
Right.
But I think
That doesn't help.
it really doesn't help. Hey, you should do more of that.
Right.
Really? I should go to the gym more. No kidding.
Right? I have a mirror.
I know exactly what it looks like. I think the third piece, though, is loving somebody is taking the action, because love is a verb, it's not a noun.
Right.
It's action. How do you take action with somebody? Go, hey, Dean, how do I come alongside you? Are you open to meeting every week, every month, just to figure out what you want? I know where you are. I know where you want to go. Really, it comes back to, as long as we know where people are and where they want to go, the book, The Gap and the Gain, talks about the gap. I haven't read it yet, but I know the message.
That. I'm very interested in that, because I think that sometimes people know they have a challenge, but they don't know what that challenge is.
I have blind spots that you can clearly see in my life. Like, buddy, I know you could do this here. Like, oh, really? And so we all have those blind spots. That's what's cool about being human, is that we're on the same playing field, really. We all have the same issues. I can clearly see areas maybe you want to improve. If I talk with you long enough, you could do the same to me.
Yeah.
Like that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, to your point, man, we got to figure out the gaps and gains. Keep it simple with people. I think your people is like, you hear them, you take notes. I love that, dude. I do that every day of my life.
Absolutely.
That's the thing I love most.
Me too. If I can help one person go, aha, even if they don't say it out loud, that's a great day.
What's an aha that you've given somebody recently that you like, it was right there, I could see it clearly, they couldn't see it? What would be an example?
That they were overthinking things.
Sounds like my golf game last night.
That's why I don't golf.
Okay.
When we overthink things, we twist truth in our own mind, in my opinion. Right? We know what we perceive as truth about whatever the situation is. Then we start analyzing, and we turn it this way and that way and upside down and right side up and flip it on its head. And that truth all of a sudden gets clouded. So our original issue may have just been compounded tenfold and overcomplicated.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. What's that word? KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yes.
Something like that, yeah.
I do that really easily because I'm not that bright.
Me too, man. I'm not that smart to go too far, so keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took a golf lesson yesterday. In fact, the 81-year-old guy, he's a retired professional golfer.
No kidding.
Yeah. And he goes, we were talking golf one day, and he's like, yeah, I can tell you keep your hands too low here. You got to do it. And so, long story short, he's giving me a couple lessons. I had the best lesson ever yesterday. He goes, after about 10 shots, he goes, why am I even here?
Wow.
Here's the point, though. After the golf lesson, which was amazing, I go golf and have the worst round of golf I've had in a long time.
Really?
So I texted this morning, I go, hey, I don't even want to explain how bad it was. He goes, I know exactly what happened. So on my way here this morning to see you, I'm getting another lesson over the phone on what happened.
Really?
Yep. But I was coached for years doing mortgage and whatever, but I wasn't always coachable. I would hear you like, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I would say in the last 4 years, I got a coach in 2020. I had 3 coaches that year at the same time.
Wow.
Changed my life.
Yeah.
And they all had different skill sets.
Of course.
And man, they worked me over. It changed everything.
Yeah.
You have to be humble enough to realize I need change. There has to be change in my life. I don't care how good you get.
Yeah.
There's always room to improve.
Absolutely. I'm very, very fortunate to have my boss is a great coach. And she sees in me things that I don't see, both good and things that need improvement.
Love it.
And she's wise enough to know how to deliver it to me so that I'll accept it, which is huge.
All right. Walk me through how she delivers so that you can receive.
I don't often know until after it's done.
I have a thought for you if you want to hear what.
Yeah, bring it.
I learned if you ever study neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, it's language, right? And I'd say I learned 20 years ago, 25 years ago, ask questions.
Yeah.
The problem is you can ask the wrong question. I can say this, Dean, why aren't you working out?
Yeah, right.
So why becomes a judgmental word. But if you ask questions like, hey, Dean, how do you think, you notice your gap and your gain, how do you think you can get from here to here? What would that look like for you?
Yeah.
And that question, if you ask the right question with the right humility, you'll get a response. But the how is, it's an H, it reminds of help.
Yeah.
So asking that question, I think I spent years of asking the wrong question. Like, why do you do that? Why don't you do it my way?
Right.
Why? Now, why is a great question?
If asked properly.
I learned recently through coaching was, hey, Dean, how would you like it to go? What's the outcome that you really desire?
Yeah.
And then lastly, why do you want that? Notice how the why come in.
The why is the crucial part.
It is a crucial part, but it can be, why don't you do this, Dean?
No, that's
because it's going to come across with the wrong heart.
You're not really looking for the why.
Well, I wonder if your coach, your boss, asks Dean. I'd be curious if you'd catch up.
I'm going to have to pay closer attention now and find out.
How does she do that?
Yeah. She does a great job. She gets me where I need to be without me knowing I'm going there. Right?
She's guiding you with questions, but you already actually know what to do.
Of course.
She just asks the right question so you can think about it.
That's what every great coach does.
Right?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm very, very fortunate.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, brother, we're going to wrap up here in a moment. Is there any last thoughts that you have, that burning desire to share, that words of wisdom, anything that you want to just let us know before you?
There is one thing that's been on my mind and my heart a lot lately, and it's just about the world we live in. We're very divided, politically, socially, spiritually, financially, every which way you can imagine. We have divides. I am challenging myself, and I would put this out there for anybody else who's interested in it. Stop looking at life that way. Stop looking at the opportunities for division, and start looking for the opportunities to align. Where are we? Where do we agree? Where do we align? And let's focus on the good, right? I'm just tired of the negativity of the world, and I just want to focus on, there's some wonderful, wonderful people out there doing wonderful, wonderful things. I want to promote them. I want to help them continue the wonderful things that they're doing. So if anybody else is out there wants to do that, find a way. There is a way. Just got to go look for it.
Yeah. Dean, that's great words of wisdom. So if somebody wanted to reach out to Dean, have a coffee conversation, a podcast on your show.
Yeah, I'd love it.
How do they reach out to you? What's the best way to communicate with you?
Probably email.
Okay.
Which is D, the letter D, Craig, Craig, at WILLWP.org.
Okay.
Willamette Workforce Partnership.
Okay, I'm going to put that in the show notes. So
Awesome.
I want people to reach out to you. I think you're a great guy.
Thank you.
I think you have a great heart. People know you want to help them.
I do.
I'm encouraged by it. I always want to be around people who want to help me.
Right?
I mean, this guy that teach me golf, he's like, buddy, this isn't over yet. We're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're ready to learn how to fly fish, let me know.
Oh, come on, man.
That's my church, is on the river.
Okay, so let me just tell you a quick story. I got in the mortgage industry in 1998. I met a guy, and he was a professional fly fisherman.
No.
He built me a rod, and I don't think I've ever used it.
That's either beautiful or sacrilege. I don't know which.
It's horrible is what it is. And it still sits in my garage. I literally it still is tube. So
when
Dean,
you are ready, I will help you.
Man, I don't think I've ever been invited to go fly fishing. Fishing, yeah. Because I like to fish, salmon, whatever, bass. I like that.
Yeah.
But fly fishing?
It's a different.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Just know our first meeting will not be on the water.
Okay.
It'll be in a field.
It's practicing.
Yeah.
It's funny. Dave McNeese, I don't know if you know the name.
Mm-mm.
He was in magazines, and Guess what? I went to his house and we practiced
In the field.
in the field.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
Okay.
It's got to get the feel.
Love it.
Otherwise, you're too worried about everything else.
Well, hey, let me end this way. So first of all, thanks for listening every week. We really appreciate you. Dean, we really appreciate you. What an honor to have you on.
Oh, thank
You're
you.
a great
It's
dude.
my honor. My honor.
We'll be having more coffees. I know we will.
Love it.
And fly fishing.
Love it.
But we appreciate every week coming on and listening to these stories. I hope you're inspired, challenged, enthused to spread the same message that Dean has. But let me leave you with this here Bible verse. It's the verse of the day. What is today? June 7th?
5th, 7th? I don't know.
6th, maybe. He has told you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. That's it. I love that. Do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God. So today, there's my challenge for you. We'll see you next week. And thanks again, Dean, for being on here this week.
Thank you, buddy.
Yep. Have a great week.
You too.